Hey folks, Quill18 here, bringing you some Let's Play Starcraft 2 Nexus Wars. Nexus Wars is a custom map made by, I don't know, some guy for Starcraft 2. Some people call it a use map settings map. And basically it's a sort of, I don't know, an income battle, base defense, base attack thing. Basically, each team has a Nexus. It's 4 on 4. Each team has a Nexus. You got one on this side of the map and one on the other. And there are 2 lanes, so there's top and bottom lane, and generally speaking, you pair up on each side. You get 2 people on each side for each lane, and what you do is you build buildings. You start with 100 minerals, and you build buildings, and the buildings generate income for you. So I built these spawning pools. They cost me 50 each, and they also generate 2 income each per cycle. I think you also have a base income of maybe 10 or something like that from your guy. So your goal is to build these buildings and eventually push the enemy all the way into their base and take out their Nexus. And so what you're trying to do is intelligently build units which counter one another. So at the beginning, of course, you're just getting tier 1 units. They're fighting each other. You do get gold for every kill, but generally speaking, it sort of balances out. I mean, they'll kill some of our guys, we'll kill some of their guys. Potentially, depending on what kind of unit you build, your partner might get more gold than you do, or vice versa, but it doesn't matter because the sides will sort of balance out. So this beginning is not much of anything. Mostly, your concern at this point is to build units that generate income for you. So I am focusing on Zerg units here. I've got the Zerglings and Roaches. Roaches are very, very tanky. And you're going to see, here's my first Roach coming into battle here. At least I think that's my first one. No, I got another one here. And the Roach, it can take a lot of damage, so it ends up tanking quite a bit, while the rest of the units end up generating most of the damage. And the Roach really allows you to get an early push, and so I'm a huge fan of it. These sentries are also very, very good. I can't select them. There we go. And that Guardian Shield's actually quite nice, especially if versus Marines, I find. Really nice thing. Also, in this version of the game, the sentries are also stealth detectors, so if someone was trying to come after you with some kind of stealth unit, the sentries will let you detect them. They do go down pretty quick, but some people pair them up or something like that. You can see these guys have built some Hellions, because all the units we're building are light, so they're very vulnerable to the Hellion damage. That's a very, very smart decision. You can see they're starting to push back against us. The Roaches are not like that, actually, so they actually do a pretty decent job of tanking those Hellions. But the Hellions do tend to be able to splash through and hit things in the back anyway. Oh, they're building medvacs now, and unfortunately that one didn't have anything to escort, but medvacs are very nice when they're keeping your biological troops healed. So bottom's going good. Cop is also pushing like crazy. Maybe I picked a game that was too overwhelmingly positive, but there is an ace in hole. Each player, so that's all 8 players in the game, have a nuke. There you go. They just have to nuke this side. So if you get pushed too much, you drop a nuke. Obviously, I mean, so that's great, but obviously at some point you run out of nukes. But the way the tempo of the game tends to work, and you can see these guys build a lot of, this guy's got a lot of Roaches, so he's going to be really, really tanky. As long as there's enough DPS support there, that's going to be, wow, the bottom's building Roaches as well. Interesting. So what will happen is the units tend to bunch up a little bit, especially after a nuke. So then this team will get a big push going the other way, and then there'll be a nuke, and then the push will get reversed, and so on and so forth. But we've actually got a really good pressure here going on now. Oh, he's actually built Dark Templars because we have no stealth protection. Now, I'm sure they're going to have to nuke here in a sec. There we go. They just nuked. And the nukes in these games do not harm your own units or buildings, so you can safely nuke like they just did there. So now they're going to start pushing back, and they do have stealth. They do have that Dark Templar, so the question is, have I built anything? Have he built anything? No, right now we don't have any stealth detection. May not be aware of it. Oh, he's building ghosts. That's interesting. But I think at some point I will probably build sentries. Looks like this game, so I've built my double Roach, which I really like because it gives me a nice amount of tankiness. So I just built the Zerglings to provide some early gold, but they're not very good late game. A couple of Roaches is what I built next for tankiness. And then the Hydras really provide really good damage, and they have slightly longer range than the Roaches, so they stand behind the Roaches, and keep firing. Now, depending on what the other team builds, I may continue to just spam out. Oh, he's got Banshees, so they got quite a few stealth units here. We definitely got to do something about that. There we go. I finally built my first sentry. I may build some more. What was I saying? Oh, depending on what they build, I may continue to spam these Hydras. And in which case I will upgrade them. And you can see on these buildings, well, I don't know if we'll be able to see, yeah, you can also spend money to upgrade your units with some of the upgrades you generally have in the game, like the group spines, which increase the range. So So that's something you can do. Looks like this time I've decided to go mutas, which are very, very strong. And you can also, you do have the option of building, I haven't built it yet, but there's a building you can build that has all your regular upgrades. In fact, it may have all the unit upgrades, including things like Hydra range, but it also has like melee attack upgrades and that. So you spend 100 minerals to build that, and you can upgrade your units. And it's not something you want to rush into, but if you've got a fair amount of one type unit, it really does become worthwhile to upgrade. And you see we're still being hit really hard by stealth units here because we don't have a lot of stealth detection. A lot of times Terran players might go Reapers, and it looks like he has as well. And actually, I didn't know what my partner was doing at first because I tend to like to build in the back near the Nexus. But look at this structure that he's put together with his barracks forming a wall, and he's built a couple of cannons behind it. And that's very cool. Now the cannons don't generate units, and they don't generate income for you either. However, they do a lot of damage, and your SCVs can repair. And the buildings are quite tough, and your SCVs repair quite quickly. So you can definitely, if you're getting pressured early on, you can build a cannon, and then have you and your partner both come and repair that building. Maybe you can get your other allies, all four of you guys, to come and repair the cannon, and it can tank just about anything early on. No problem whatsoever. There we go. So now we're starting to get a little bit of stealth detection between my sentry. We have just one sentry, yeah, and his one Reaper. We have fairly consistent stealth detection now, so we're able to push back a little bit. They've started building Mortals, which I'm not sure is a very good choice given our composition. The Mortals are good against hard-hitting units that attack more slowly, maybe. But all we've got are fast-hitting units, so I think the Mortals were a particularly bad choice there. The Mutas are really doing well now. If I look at the top lane, looks like our team is getting pushed. Look at this. They've gone the heavy Roach Wall followed by a heavy back end of Hydras. Looks like they could probably use the range upgrade for the Hydras though, because they're not having a very easy time firing. Nonetheless, they're still pressuring this like crazy. Still, that group is about to be nuked. I don't believe our side has used the nuke yet, so we're still feeling okay. You're not worried about the first push or the second push. It's once you get to that, well, I guess the fifth push really means you're out of nukes. But the problem is if you're getting pushed that many times, sometimes the groups get so big and so tough that a single nuke isn't enough to clear them out. So you can be in real trouble here. They're clearly going to have to nuke. Now, I don't think they're doing very well at the top. I mean, our team. The enemy team is doing really well. Luckily, we're doing great at the bottom. I think we may have gotten nuked, though. Clearly, because we don't have much of a force here. Now, they're building a lot of Banshees, which is pretty good, except, I mean, the Mutas are a pretty good counter to that. Oh, they've started to build Phoenixes. Phoenixes are, of course, an excellent counter to Mutas. The question is, what am I going to keep doing? I'm still building Mutas, because I think they've got a lot of ground units. And that tends to be what I do when I'm building up. I watch to see what kind of units they're building. And I'm starting off with Zerglings, and I'm starting off with Roaches. There's a lot of sort of motivation there to build ground units, especially a lot of people are going Marines. So they will, a lot of people will get, you will see the Flame units, you'll see a lot of Zealots, you'll see a lot of Marauders, and they are very good. And I sort of let them do that for a little bit, and then I go into heavy Muta, and they just have so much committed to ground. And like these Banshees, for example, lots of ground damage, but not a lot that can counter the Mutas. And now, then, depending on what they do for anti-air, and these guys are building a fair amount of anti-air, maybe, I may just have to change my mind. Now, Mutas still stack really well, and they hit everything, and they've got the splash damage. So, and apparently I'm helping top right now. Yeah, our top is getting pushed hard, so I'm going to come up here, and maybe I'm building units. Maybe I'm going to nuke. Oh, there we go. That might have been me nuking there. Looks like our top went for a lot of later game units. We've got Void Waves, we've got Battle Cruisers. That might have been why they were getting pressured. They were saving up a lot of money for that, but now they do have it, so that's pretty good. Wow, Broodlords. Luckily they've got air, so that's going to be really good against the Ultralisks and that. Still, that is not great for our side. I'm a little concerned about what's going on here. And looks like the enemy team's got a nice pile up here, so we are probably getting to the point where we're going to have to nuke soon. Looks like I built my upgrade center here. I like to build it just off in the corner because it doesn't spawn units. And you can see I've got all the Terran upgrades, all the Zerg upgrades, all the Protoss upgrades, all in one place, and you can spam them and they basically come up instantly. It looks like I decided to build a second sentry because we weren't having quite enough stealth detection, and I apparently stopped building the Mutiness. I went back and built a couple more Hydra layers, and I've got a Corruptor Den here, so I'm a little concerned about the amount of air that they're bringing, and I want to get the air superiority back. So I'm going to start building some Corruptors. Corruptors, Hydras, I mean, that's a lot of extra damage to the air, so that's quite nice. Still, that's not looking great. It looks like our side has a good clump going now, so they're going to be pushing all the way to the enemy base at this point with this. I have no doubt whatsoever. Oh, let's see. Oh, my first corruptor is in operation here. He is getting hammered by 2 anti-air units, which is unfortunate. But he's tanking right now for my mutas, which is very, very nice. The mutas do good damage. But that's a huge group. I think we're probably going to have to nuke, unless we bring in some AoE. And you can build, I believe you can build High Templars. Ultralisks, of course, have a little bit of an AoE because of the sweep attack. Lurkers they've introduced in this one. That's pretty good, but if they bring any stealth protection, not so much. There we go. I just announced that I was going to nuke here. These cannons are actually doing a pretty good job, but yeah, we definitely need the nuke. Another wave. See how they're all coming at once? It's a very, very good trick if you're playing this game, and this game is called Nexus Wars, because I forgot to mention it, but I'm sure I put it in the title. What you can do is group select, so you can shift click or square select, or not shift click, but control click, all the buildings of one type, and then just hit escape a whole bunch to unqueue everything. Get rid of everything in the queue on all the buildings and then stop, and then they'll all get re-queued simultaneously. So then, instead of coming out one at a time like this, all your units will come out in one big shot. I don't appear to have done this in this game, no. Oh, maybe for the mutas. Looks like the first row of mutas. Yeah, see, they come out 4 at a time. And that is so important, because if you're going in one unit at a time, you can get destroyed. But if you can come in one big clump, that's great. Unfortunately, you can't really sync up all your buildings together, because everything's got a slightly different build time. But everything of a single type, you really want to come out together. And so these guys are pretty good, because they've definitely, look at this, the Valkyrie, or the Vikings, definitely coordinated. But now we got a good push going on now, because we've got a lot of anti-air on all our ground units, basically hit air, and I've got a good pool of corruptors going on. Looks like I've got 6 of those corruptor dens now. So we're gonna have huge anti-air. Pop is getting pushed really nicely too, and I don't know. I guess they've used maybe 2 nukes at this point, maybe 3. I have no idea. Unfortunately, in these replays, you don't really get a good note. You don't get like the notice that a nuke is going off. Nuclear launch detected, which it really should. It should say it and it should ping the map. Look at this. He's got so many of those Banshees. Wow. 12, I guess. Yeah, 12 Banshee producing units over there. No. Okay, those are the Vikings. That's crazy. But Banshees do seem to be pretty good to me, but I'm not sure if they're worth that much of an investment. And we are light on the stealth protection, so that doesn't hurt there, but I don't know. And these Void Rays, I think, were a bad choice to counter our units. Void Rays do especially good against big things or armored things. We don't really have that many big armored things. Top's pushing real well. I'm still worried that one of us is going to get nuked. Got some nice cannons there, but at this phase in the game, I think the cannons don't do enough damage to be able to counter anything. They're going to get exploded pretty quickly. What am I building now? Same. Kind of sticking with the same. Oh, adding more mutas into the mix. I'm feeling like we've got good control over the air now. In fact, well, with all these corruptors plus all the hydras, that's definitely clear. We've got oh, medevacs. That's interesting. So yeah, we've got good air control, and then I just go back to spamming mutas. Broodlords are pretty powerful too, and I do build them, but I really like mutas for the money. You can just spam out a lot more of them, and but Broodlords are good, and what I should really do is sprinkle a few of them into this army, and I probably do at some point. I usually do. So Top's being pushed. I expect if they had nukes, they would have nuked by now. Oh, things are slowing down so much. But yeah, okay, that's going to be GG right there, guys. That is 100%. Both sides are being pushed. They must be out of nukes, and we're going to win. So our units are going to work their way through these buildings and eventually get to the Nexus and destroy that. So I hope you enjoyed the Nexus Wars. It's one of the custom maps at the very top of the custom map ladder in Starcraft. Very popular. It's a lot of fun. Very cerebral. You just think about your strategy, think about what counters what, and there's no twitch reflexes whatsoever because you don't control the units. They just go on their own. So you just have to make sure you're spending your money wisely and playing the rock, paper, scissors game, basically. And there goes the Nexus. So I hope you enjoyed this game, and I'll be back shortly with another replay.